it's me, MB. I'm back again with yet another one. Before we start, I must say that if you guys hear like wind in the background, that's because my AC is at a commission and I've been dealing with only a fan for quite some time now, so that's probably why the audio is a little However, I did promise you guys last video that I was going to try to post more videos consecutively since I had trouble sticking to my schedule. So, even though this isn't the highest quality video, I still brought you a video. So, let's get to it. You know what? I care so much for quality, I'm actually going to do something that I shouldn't and sacrifice my sanity by turning off the fan for the sake of the commentary of this video. Anyways, moving along. Now, if you read the title of this video, which you probably did, you'd see that I was saying that, oh, I made a bubblegum girl? In the sense that I just made an extremely vibrantly colored, character, which, doesn't surprise me now that I think about it, but considering the actual vibes of my personality, it could shock a few people. See, the idea of me being so into colorful concepts is more of a recent development in my personality these days. I mean, I've always been into the more retro, the blocky, the simple, but at the same time detailed and complicated. That has always been one of my likings, even though not of my greatest. However, I never really did any kind of, piece that was actually colorful. I did designs, sure. I did concepts, clothing, yeah, sure. But have I actually done like an actual illustration that's actually colorful? Yeah, not really. Which is funny looking back because these types of illustrations have always marked me when I was very little. I mean, all my childhood, I was practically raised looking or watching anime and anime-esque illustrations. They have always been my greatest inspiration for me to even start art. So it's just slightly ironic, don't you think? But why do I speak of this? Well, because it's technically a little bit linked to why I even did this drawing specifically. So as you, the viewer, may or may not know, I actually had a quite extensive break from drawing or posting anything in any media at all, specifically because my tablet actually kind of malfunctioned almost entirely. And by almost entirely, I mean I cannot use it nearly at all for drawing, if at all. And it's been a while ever since I actually did any traditional art. I did some sketches, specifically in pen every once in a while, but it's safe to say that I was very rusty and very demotivated. I had this very, very long phase of art block that just did not go away. And funnily enough, as if I was trying to self-sabotage, that's when I started this channel. Yeah, right when I got my tablet and I was like, hey, I can do that. But you can't, MB. You cannot do that. Why? Because you got art block. So to obviously not fail absolutely miserably in doing my YouTube channel because I was incompetent in actually doing any art, I went to YouTube and watched videos to try to motivate myself. And one of the very key things or advice that I saw and heard from one specific YouTuber, that if I find a video I will try to link them or tag them in any way, but they mention going back to your roots somehow, which essentially is just nostalgia with extra words. Find a link that got you into art or just made you admire art as a whole and execute something from that. It's kind of like that little nostalgia effect. We kind of do things or eat candies that we don't even really like at that point in our lives, but it's nostalgia, or better said, nostalgic. So, like I mentioned previously, One of my grandest issues was the lack of motivation and the art block that I had, so I wasn't really creating anything or having fun creating literally anything. What I noticed is that I had like a very consecutive pattern of me pushing myself or challenging myself, which is good, but only in healthy portions, you know? You shouldn't make every moment, every sketch, or every piece a different study or something to push past your boundaries. It's okay for you to go back to your boundaries, to your little comfort zone every once in a while. Of course, there should be a healthy balance, like a little 50-50 or 40-60. It doesn't matter as long as you eventually branch out. Well, that is if you actually want to evolve as an artist, because if you just want to stick to one thing, feel free to. But for the majority of us that actually do want to evolve, try this advice and try this little challenge. I mean, you can always try to challenge yourself or try new things while staying in your comfort zone. I mean, look at me. I did exactly that in this case. Just like most people, the thing I can best draw is the face of a human being. But I still did challenge myself with the color selection, which I have never really limited myself to a certain color palette, which is, in this case, pink, blue, and purple, and obviously yellow to contrast a little bit. It's more of an orangey yellow though. But I made myself draw a hand. That is also an accomplishment. I gave my girly pop some nails, bubbly expressions, and literal bubblegum bubbles all around her. It was a genuinely random concept that just came to my mind suddenly when I was, thinking of something that I could draw that was in some way, shape, or form in my comfort zone, but still could challenge me enough for me to actually want to do it. Since last time I drew absolutely anything on my other tablet, I have forgotten nearly everything about how I used to draw, how I used to render, how I used to sketch. That's why you see me struggling doing even the basics of how to get the basic shapes down. And I forget to do the cross sometimes because that wasn't really in my habits back then. But then I just realized, I don't really need to stick to that specific render style. I evolve along with my art, and my art evolves along with me, so why should I stick to a singular type of way of doing things? In conclusion, this just means that I experimented with a lot more than I previously bargained for when I first started the piece, but in the long run, it was fun, it was engaging, and I think I really helped myself out for future pieces. A few things I can remember that I did, and you can obviously tell, is that I used this freckle brush that I downloaded from Pinterest to give her a few freckles to have texture on her skin. I used the airbrush specifically to give her a softer edge to her face, specifically, because we need soft and harsh edges when it comes to shading contrast. I tried to focus on contrast and values. I doubt that I actually nailed that down, but it looks good, so I'm not really gonna complain there. It was, once again, a limited color palette, so I was kind of forced to do more with less, which was very fun. And as you can see, literally right now at the very end, I got very experimental because I was thinking of doing a more painterly, painter-esque, or rough type of color absolutely everywhere, controlled chaos type things. But I started off in more of my comfort zone, as you previously saw. It was a lot neater than that, which, kind of defeats the whole point of going painterly, so I just said, screw it, I'm gonna add the details later and use this textured, basically a flat brush type of blendy brush. Oh my god, the sweat is in my eyeballs. My sweat is in my eyeballs. My eyeballs are literally sweating. Anyways, at the very end, I went in with the Dip and Hard brush. That's a default brush in Ibis Paint. And I went straight in with white to define a few more details, as well as defining the eyes, as you previously saw before. And after a bit more fiddling and faddling, I finally called the piece done. I gave it my final signature, as if it wasn't already on the jacket, but creative liberties. But yeah, this is my this was my comfortable comfort piece. I don't know, it was an experiment, but at the same time, it was in my comfort zone. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys like that. Now on a more serious note, now that we're, getting closer to the end of this video, I hope that you guys also take that mindset with you of not having to constantly pressure yourself or challenge yourself into making these incredible pieces, like with very elaborate backgrounds, with impressive perspective and shading, with shape language and colors. Like, art has so many things that one has to not only master, but we just have to learn from the very, very beginning. So we cannot expect any of us to know what the hell we're doing every single time. We don't have the time, nor the money, nor the many different kinds of fudges to give to make a masterpiece every single time you lift a stylus or a pen. It's okay to be a hermit crab and go back to your comfort zone every once in a while, or just have fun with it. It's not illegal to have fun with your art, or sit down and just not really think about it much. That's what art is for, not only to have fun or express yourself, it's to also decompress. You don't have to overstress yourself or pressure yourself into doing something major. Be a beginner, intermediate, or what we call pro artists that are considered the masters of art nowadays. You don't have to. Do you want to? Maybe. And that's okay. I mean, I get that. But you don't have to. Keep that in mind. So yeah, that's my take on the matter. It could be yours, it could be not, but consider the mentality. Let's all better artists' mental health here. Come on. Not the matter, we have reached the very end of this video, and I really do hope that you guys enjoyed watching it. As always, every view brings something new. Help me get into guitar. And I'll see you guys next week. MB, signing out. See you next time.